Welcome everybody to Forza Horizon 4, and today we're taking a look at the 2019 RAESR Tachyon Speed. Now RAESR stands for Rice Advanced Engineering Systems and Research, founded by Eric Rice in 2014. This is their first ever prototype, although it's unlikely to be their first ever production vehicle. And yeah, this is a marvel of engineering, especially considering how heavy all electric cars usually are. But this, because it has a carbon fibre bodywork, carbon ceramic brakes, interior tub that is made out of Kevlar, and a carbon fibre aluminium honeycomb belly pan, means that this only weighs 3,200 pounds, which is, yeah, remarkably a lightweight car for a electric car. Which, yeah, electric cars generally weigh more than 3.5, sometimes more than 4,000 pounds. A Rimac, for instance, weighs more than 4,000 pounds. So yeah, this is extremely lightweight for a car of this type, not just in terms of electric cars, but in terms of electric hypercars as well, which this is firmly in that category, because it's got a huge amount of power. As we'll take a look at all of the wiring and the batteries that are in here. Nothing particularly interesting, but as you can see, there is a lot there, and that's because this has 6 direct drive motors, 3 driving the rear and 3 driving the front, which makes up 1.4 megawatts of power, which is quite a lot, meaning that this car has 1,251 horsepower, which is not quite as much as a Rimac. It's about 600 horsepower less than that, but it's still more than a lot of hypercars have. But where this car impresses in terms of its torque, as it has 3,650 pounds-feet of torque, which is more than twice what the Rimac has, which, yeah, gives this a very unique feel in terms of how it drives. And yeah, in terms of other vehicles that you can compare this to, I'd compare it to the likes of a Napier Railton from the 1930s, as that also had more power than a lot of cars from that period, but has had even more in the way of torque, as that was well over 1,000 pounds-feet of torque. So yeah, this feels a lot in terms of that kind of vehicle, in terms of its high amount of power, but even higher amount of torque in terms of how to drive. And that's even more similar, because this only revs up to 3,000 RPM, whereas a lot of electric cars are 9,000, 10,000, 11,000 RPM in terms of their RPM limits, which again gives this a very unique feel in comparison to other electric cars. And it also looks extremely unique as well, as yeah, it's got a double cockpit, meaning there are only 2 seats, but that's no problem. Most hypercars only ever have 2 seats anyway. And yeah, you got this fantastic interior, which, if we get the cockpit down, has a screen on the left for your mile per hour, a screen on your right for your range, and then a screen in the middle for your rear view camera. And then there was 2 fixed normal rear view mirrors in the front fenders. And yeah, you got your usual kind of buttons, and it is a little bit rudimentary, but then again, it is only a prototype. But yeah, still an impressive looking vehicle in terms of interior and outside as well. And yeah, the passenger no doubt has plenty of space as well. And it also has a advanced all-wheel drive torque vectoring system, a front splitter and rear diffuser, a dynamic rear wing which changes in terms of how fast we're going and whether or not we're on hard braking, and it also has 1,000 pounds of downforce at 150 miles an hour, which is again impressive. And in terms of city driving, you can actually get 150 miles out of this, which again, considering how powerful, how quick this is yeah, again, really impressive. But where this car obviously really shines is out on the open road. So let's get out there and see what this car can do. So yeah, because this car has opted for low-end torque and not much in the way of revs, it's not the fastest of electric hypercars in terms of pure acceleration, but where this car does shine is in terms of the handling, because it is so lightweight and has that all-wheel drive system, all of that downforce, plus the other aerodynamic additions. It's yeah, easily one of the best handling cars on this game, just in terms of pure, you know, agility. Because yeah, it does not look like a 3,200 pound car. It looks a lot heavier and a lot, you know, less nimble. But it really isn't. It is ludicrously quick how good of a handling car this is. And because you've got all of that torque, you can just fly out of any corner that you come up against. So yeah, obviously it's not really meant for snow or ice, which is unfortunately when the this car was released in the winter season, but even so, that all-wheel drive is still going to keep you on the road, even if you're not going to be going quite as quick as you would do in normal conditions. So I'll let you listen to the car for a little bit, even though it is an electric car, so there isn't much in the way of noise, but there is some there, especially once we get into the higher range of revs. So yeah, I'll just let you listen to it for a little bit. So yeah, not much in the way of noise, but it certainly does make a noise at some point, and yeah, I really do like the way it does sound actually. Again, sounding unique because, you know, it doesn't rev anywhere near as high as other electric vehicles. But yeah, acceleration wise, like I said, isn't quite as impressive as say a Rimac, as it can do 0 to 60 in 3 seconds, 0 to 105.1 seconds, and go to a top speed of 240 miles an hour. Whereas a Rimac is probably pushing near 260, and is doing 0 to 60 in less than 2 seconds. But yeah, I feel like this has gone for the handling and agility front more than the Rimac does, or has, because yeah, this handles far better than that car. And yeah, the Rimac does not look particularly great in comparison to this. This is way more striking, and yeah, way more interesting to look at. And yeah, the cockpit, you know, the aircraft cockpit is really nice as well. So yeah, again, giving it a more unique aspects to it. But yeah, we're going to get to the motorway eventually, just to see what this car can do in terms of top speed. I know I said 241 miles an hour, but yeah, it can still, or 240. It's a bit middling in terms of what the top speed is supposed to be. RAESR themselves say 240, whereas on this game it's 241. But either way, that is still really quick and far faster than most cars can do today. So yeah, let's get up to the motorway and just see how quickly this car can accelerate. We'll actually stop and accelerate from a standstill just to show you what it can do. And yeah, this car is pretty much impossible to get any wheel spin out of as well. That's just how much that all-wheel drive system and the amount of grip that this car has. So yeah, let's just go from full revs. Yeah, it doesn't get off the line the quickest, which is why the 0 to 60 time isn't the best. But 0 to 100 and yeah, 100 to its top speed is really rather quick, as you can see. A lot of the upgraded cars that we have are struggle to get up to that speed before this tunnel. And there's 241 for 240, so yeah, it's glitching in between the two numbers there, but yeah, still ludicrously quick in terms of getting up to that kind of top speed, even if it isn't quite as quick as some cars. But this car's party piece is the fact that you can also do that in reverse as well. No idea why, or how this is road legal at all. Maybe it isn't even a road legal car, it is a prototype, but yeah, this can get up to ridiculous amounts of speed in reverse as well. It is difficult to reverse at those kind of speeds though, because the car's dynamics become a lot more twitchy and a lot more difficult to drive. But the fact you can do that in reverse as well is again really rather ludicrous. So yeah, you can get this car by doing 50% of the current seasonal festival playlist, which is easy enough, especially if you've already done, you know, your online series racing and the monthly rivals that this car is part of. Both of them also add to the other parts of the festival playlist, and obviously this season as well. And yeah, it's well worth getting because it's easily one of the more exciting cars that we've had on this game via the festival playlist, and certainly one of the more revolutionary cars as well, because even though it's not quite as quick as some electric cars in terms of pure acceleration, the fact it's this light and looks this great is also a innovative kind of aspect as well, because a lot of electric cars do look quite boring, whereas this looks anything but that. Nonetheless, thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye.